Hey fam, welcome back to another episode of I'm Telling You. As always, your faithful hosts, Philly D.
Mr. Gemini.
And we're back at it again for another delightful episode of our antics.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, and for those of you at home, we want to hear from you. We want you to interact. We want to continue the conversation, as we always say.
Drop us a line.
Yeah, hit us up at I'm Telling You at directionsmusic.org. That's IMTELLINYOU at directionsmusic.org. And we'll probably respond because, we don't do much.
That just sounds pathetic. You're like,
you're the one that was like all desperate the one time. You're like, please reach out. I was like, dude, we just sound really desperate right now. But yeah, no. So
because nobody writes us about that.
It's true. We have received emails. It's just it's never been about Fact Checker.
Yeah,
we have yet to receive that.
Still waiting.
Yeah, drop your resume. Let us know that you can Google.
That's an important thing. You got to know how to Google.
Yeah, operate a computer for the most part.
There's a bunch of buttons and a mouse thingy, and there's something you got to do with that. I'm not really sure.
I think you should also know how to be quiet, I guess. Is that speak when you're spoken to? No, but
what's going on?
First time listeners, if you're just checking in with us, figuring us out what we are, it's a 30-year friendship between the two of us. We just, I don't know, we say chopping it up, but man, we talk about stuff. We throw in like movie quotes, music quotes, our own quotes.
Yeah, this kid used to get off on my bus stop and take my bike to ride home so he could ride it back in the morning to catch my bus to school.
Oh, yeah, dude. I've talked about that plenty of times.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to ride your bike from my house so we can smoke cigarettes and get on at the bus stop at your house. Dude, I'm pretty sure there's there's no
statute.
Yeah, there's no it's well beyond.
This is all known information now.
Oh yeah, plus it's like what 30 years ago almost, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, over 30. Yeah.
Of just doing that, yeah.
30 over. Yeah, over 30 years.
Yeah, now. I know at this point. But yeah, no, that's what we do, and we're but we like to interject, intellectual components, moments of clarity or lucidity, or
just moments. Yeah.
Just moments.
Can't carry it too long.
And this is what kind of cracks me up about it.
Cracks.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, see what I did there? But yeah, the thing that kind of cracks me up about it is, to me at least, the pattern I see is that we're either very like all serious, where we just get like it's just one continuous really dope intellectual conversation, or it's just like straight antics.
Lately, it seems to be kind of like waffling back and forth between the two. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like it's there's been very few episodes recently where we actually had a little bit of both.
I'm happy when there's a nice happy medium between the two.
Yeah, I feel like our the last episode we did, we kind of started getting back into that rhythm. At least I felt like it.
One of the things that started me off about wanting to spotlight the conversations that we have is that we don't tend to sugarcoat things. Like, I want to talk about, things that affect us all, things that maybe are not just goofy and silly, things that are deep, as far as whatever. I mean, I'm trying to reference certain things that we brought up in the past, but he's making faces at me. I don't even know what he's doing right now.
You know exactly what I'm doing.
Just gurgled, excuse me.
You're gross. Well, yeah, and there's, because I mean, I think the conversation we had about this was me just doing any kind of content, trying to put stuff out there. It needs to be one of three things, if not two or all three, which is educational, entertaining, and community-minded or community-supportive.
So how are we community supportive?
By doing what you just said, having those kind of conversations where we're not going to sugarcoat it. We are going to get into it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Whether it's, absolute antics or,
community is in the world, really, right now.
Well, yeah, local and global, yeah.
Because we're worldwide, baby.
And you gotta.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what the
I
looks
gotta
were for.
learn how to come in because when you're talking, I gotta back off the mic so I'm not.
But yeah, but when you're talking, you
Yes, I have to remember to come right back up. All right.
Yeah.
We were somewhere. We were going somewhere. I can't remember.
Yeah, we were discussing the fact of being community minded, having deep intellectual conversations, the joy of being able to have those serious conversations without sugarcoating it.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, you're doing a disservice at that point. You're not being impeccable, I feel.
Well, it's. I mean, yeah, I guess impeccable is one way to put it, but I mean, I don't know. Like, if you're working through something in your mind and you just need to talk about it, because a lot of times I'll come to you with stuff like that where, I've called you a couple times in the last year where, I just need a vent. I'll like start off the whole conversation with, I just need a vent. Like, I know this is totally not me right now, but I just need to get it all out.
Yeah, and I'm always accepting of it. I'm
Where
like,
there's something going on at home, and it's like, and you're just like, okay, well, and you'll say things like, well, that's your opinion, or, oh, that's the way you saw it. And I'm like, no. But it's, it's nice to have that. But other than that, it's not like you're being critical.
Thank you. Yeah.
It doesn't seem that way anyway. But
that certainly is my attempt and intention in having any kind of a conversation is to make sure that I'm being accepting.
receptive.
That as well. But also, like you were saying, not sugarcoating it. Yeah, I'm not gonna. If you just want to vent and let everything out, cool. I'm gonna listen. Most times when it's when you're doing your thing, you need to do some of that, but then you're also looking for some form of interaction, information.
Am I crazy? Yeah, I'm totally off my freaking rocker.
Yeah, clarity, any kind of right. So of course, once the initial venting is finished, and now you're being receptive to.
Are you done?
Yeah, and then when we get there, we have those kind of things where I'll toss it in there and be like, well, you say this, but and I always try to approach it in the fashion of I'm not diminishing what you're doing or saying. I'm literally just playing.
But little reminders is just to say like, and this is not projecting how, kind of thing where, you're not being critical, but you're just saying, okay, well, that's how you saw it. And I'm like, true. Like something someone says to me or,
right. Well,
something where I get an opportunity to read into it. And it's like, well, you're reading into it. So you're kind of, that's you, that's not them.
Yeah, because I take it back to the whole 4 agreements where you're, making assumptions and taking things personal.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's typically the position that I point. Because once you really start to understand those as principles and ways of perceiving, it really does help to modify, or at least I feel remove a lot of that angst or negativity or, possible anxiety, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's how I got rid of all that crap for myself, was starting to just accept things.
Right. Just it is what it is. Let's move on.
Yeah.
One of the things I try to do is okay, can we focus on how we can improve? If this is a bad situation, can we just focus on how to improve it instead of focusing on all the badness of it? Because some people like to get hung up in that. And it's like, okay, well, we did that, but what can we do to try and improve this going forward?
Yeah, what's the
me specifically? What could I do to try and improve this going forward?
The one thing I'm always saying is, don't focus on what you're not doing right. Focus on what you are doing right. So instead of there being like, oh, I'm not doing this, or I'm doing this horribly, or focus on what are you doing right? What are you doing, or what could you be doing?
Do more of it.
Yeah, and just do more of that.
Right. Play to your strength.
Yeah.
Or that Dalai Lama quote that I love. I think you might have referenced it before, but I think it was part of one of his speeches, but it was just one simple line. You can always be more kind.
Yeah, always. Absolutely.
And that's such a beautiful, very simplistic statement. It doesn't matter where you are on that hierarchy of kind. You can always be more kind.
And to me, that's a very impeccable statement because it's not negative. It's not positive.
Correct.
It's just a statement. And it's like, all right, you know what? That's a truth to me.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, you're not gonna theorize that and like quantify it.
Yeah, and it's not you're not pointing the finger at somebody not being kind.
Well, yeah,
You're just saying whatever level you're at right now, you could always be more kind.
Yeah, there's no blame on anyone. There's no negative association of any kind.
Of course, that doesn't mean you let everybody walk all over you, but you can do it in a kind way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I agree to that.
Most times.
Well, I always take it back to with you growing up. You know, I obviously had like a different kind of upbringing than a lot of people like myself, and having that gives me that background to want to be more accepting and positive. So coming from a relative negative and somewhat violent upbringing, I've always been more of the type that it's like, dude, we don't need to resort to violence. Like, that's really not the thing.
But that could easily have gone the other direction.
Oh, of course.
For somebody with a checkered past.
Absolutely.
Some people just give into it. Now, that's the weird thing. It's like society, and especially as a young man growing up, and I don't mean to pick on just men. I mean, I'm sure women have their own issues that they deal with. I can only speak from where I come from, but that young men have this need to put forth this whole image of being tough. And what is tough? Is it tougher for you to give in and fight back, inflicting harm on other people, or to learn how to try and fix things through communication or through diplomacy or whatever it is? Do you always have to turn to violence so quickly? Would be my question for a lot of people. And there's specifically a friend of ours that we share that I got in this conversation with him quite deeply. And I'm like, I understand exactly where you're coming from, when he wants to talk politically and stuff. And I'm like, I'm incensed about a lot of the things that are going on. But at the same time, does that justify violence? Or does that justify going directly to violence? Are there other ways to try and, handle it? Diplomacy, like I said, like, are there, but I know he's not alone in his thinking with this. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that feel that way, that they're at the end of the rope right now. We've tried that method. It doesn't work, Well,
at least not very well.
And one of my issues with the idea of turning to violence myself is that, like, I've been there, I've done that. I mean, and I don't have a really bad checkered past. I really don't. But the few times that I have hurt people, even if it was just verbally, I've paid the price for that in some ways, maybe more than they did.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement.
So that's my issue. It's like, well, what good does it do if I have to give away whatever I think it is that makes me human in order to survive?
Right.
So in a way, like, oh, are you just going to roll over and die would be his question to me, maybe. But the answer is, what kind of life can I live knowing that I'm capable of these things? And then having to live the rest of my life knowing that I've done them.
Yeah.
Could I take a life? I'm not so sure.
Well, because it's not the fact of doing that; it's the living with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And I know there's plenty of people that have had to, fight for their country, and they're a wreck when they come home. And you did your part, and you consider yourself patriotic, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for anybody who is, in many senses, just anybody who's willing to sign themselves over to something greater than themselves.
Yeah, right.
And really, really, truly mean it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a truly selfless act. But when you see some of these people, what they have to deal with, and the atrocities they see, and it's a lot of times I've heard it's not the atrocities from the enemy, but realizing what the brother next to you or what yourself is capable of. And that's a difficult thing to deal with.
Yeah, you're coming to terms with, your own morality and mortality.
So we had this whole conversation where I was like, well, if you're really upset about it, aren't there ways to peaceably, protest? And he's like, we just recently tried it and it got flipped upside down by the news media. And I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. Like, you'd almost have to have like this ridiculous number of people to be able to do that, to peaceably walk. Like a ridiculous number of people. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
but you can never get that many people together peacefully. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, that's so, going back to my point before, that's why, me not being a violent man anymore, like me thinking, violence is like the last resort, if ever any resort. You can get into certain situations. It's like, all right, you know what? Unfortunately, you need to be educated, and that might require some physical components.
I get that.
I'm not advocating violence per se. However,
I get that, and that's kind of my message. I guess my message to him would be that it should be a last resort.
Yeah, last or
and it should the violence should be quick and I mean, if you want to say nasty, but quickly nasty, done with.
And this is why I like the idea of
it should be like hellfire for 30 seconds. Boom, problem solved in that area, and let's move on.
And this is why I like the idea of fighting your enemy with their own energy, so that you're not actually fighting them; they're fighting themselves. That's the Bruce Lee thing.
It's a Sun Tzu thing too. Yeah,
practice the art of fighting without fighting,
or in wearing your enemy out. That was one of the methods of fighting without fighting, was to wear your enemy out. But the joke you're referencing probably is get on this boat and we'll have plenty of room to fight.
Yeah, Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a good movie, man.
And the bad guy gets on the boat and is bye.
Yeah, and then he gives the kids the rope that he was picking on. He's like, here, you can just hold the boat. And then the boat starts getting like flooded in, and he's got to...
Yeah, he's bailing out the... Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty...
It was just desserts.
Oh, well.
But that was a little different, like, the art of wearing your enemy out. I mean, like, that was the whole idea, I guess, the principle behind, sieging. If you had the resources to basically blockade a castle or something like that and keep all its inhabitants from being able to escape, or in some senses fight back, because after a while you've run out of munitions.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there dead. You're running out of food. There's people dying in the streets. There's holes in the wall where all kinds of animals and people are coming through. Like, eventually the whole thing collapses, and like, you've just basically worn your enemy out. So psychologically, emotionally, physically, and sometimes it doesn't even take, with a situation like that, it might necessarily take like a really big army to do that.
Well, and I mean,
strategy more.
My reference on that would be, I think, when we ended the Cold War thing, right? We're building.
Did we end it?
Well, dude, we're not going to debate that. Knock that shit off. I'm making a point here. But yeah, the purpose behind it was that, hey, you can build, we can build. However, we can keep building and you can't. So no matter what, if you want to keep this going, we're going to win just on pure, attrition, because you're going to get worn down and we won't. So let's both be smart about this and just knock this shit off. Is kind of how it was.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, people have argued that it just got more subversive. But yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
That's why I'm not even going to. No, I'm not going to. Because to think that that's not possible or that it is actual is asinine. Any and all of that is absolutely possible and probably likely. However, I'm not going to sit here and hypothesize or theorize about it or even entertain that notion. It's not the world I live in.
Yeah, there's a lot of notions out there.
There's a lot of oceans too.
It's not that many. Way more crazy notions. And not always all that crazy.
Yeah, there's 5 oceans now. Did you know that? Yeah, it's no longer 4. It's now 5. They've classified it as 5 oceans. Yeah, I did this as a trivia question. I kid you not.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it myself because I thought I was like being all funny. I was like, how many oceans? Ha ha ha. And I was just like, wait, what? 5? What? It's like when Pluto got declassified. What are you talking about? This is blasphemy. Pluto's always been a planet. Yeah.
It was an oversized asteroid or something, right? It's out past the, what is that? The asteroid belt.
Well, the planetary orbital, whatever, I don't know. The John Hughes Meridian.
I think it got declassified mainly because of its size and its...
Wait, because
it's an ice planet?
Well, they called it a dwarf planet, I think is...
That's so hurtful.
Right? Why can't it be Little Planet?
That's not very PC, man. It's messed up.
But yeah, no, it's pretty much, to me, it's the same thing. It's just, it shattered my world. I'm like, what do you mean? That's not right.
It's not really a planet. It's a character.
Well, no, before, not just the planet. I was saying that was the thing to me. That was like the way to, a way to correlate my feelings.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I guess that it goes back to that idea that perception makes it real. So like, you're having this view, I have my view. I don't even want to, fucks with your view. And it's just like, but that's my perception because I want to maintain that peace. Yeah.
I mean, well, and that's one of the troubles I have because and we've talked about this before, like I don't consider myself a political person, but it's the interplay between other human beings, the politics of that that's where I kind of, at some point when it starts to bleed into your life, it's not just politics out there, it's politics right here. And I think one of the things that in these conversations with my friend that I have, that he's always trying to remind me that, I like the way you feel, but not everybody out there feels that way. And then sometimes, what are you going to do when somebody tries to take what's yours or hurt the ones you love? At some point you have to take a stand. And I always say, well, if that day comes, then I'll deal with it then. And it's like, what if it's too late?
Dude, I just got was Michael Douglas when Breaking Down, I think, is where he finally snaps and he just starts like shooting people. It's actually it's actually a really good movie.
Was it Breaking Down?
Yeah, no. That's what I said. I think it's Breaking Down. Yeah, where you literally see him reach his snapping point and you can just watch the psychological change within him. I mean, that in and of itself, that principle is to me, it's very easy to understand. And, especially in that kind of a realm of all this stuff. So yeah, when you take it to, like you said, when it becomes personal.
Breaking Down film? Sorry, I'm looking this up while you're talking.
See, this is why we need
1997? 1997?
Oh, gosh. I think it might have been earlier than that.
Kurt Russell.
No, not Kurt Russell.
This is Kurt Russell.
No, Michael Douglas.
This is Kurt Russell.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, it's a movie with him. It's not Kurt Russell. This is not a thing.
This is...
Trust me, you're looking up...
These are not the droids we're looking for.
Yeah, you're looking up the wrong movie.
I looked up exactly what you said.
Yeah, Breaking Point, something like that. It's just, no.
No, that's something totally different.
No, that's Point Break. Dude, all right, well, you couldn't do it. I'm going to do it. So run some interference. Why don't you talk about some stuff?
I got to interfere.
Well, interference.
Interferon. Interspace.
That's actually a good movie, too.
Interface.
Dude, don't you remember that movie?
You have an interface. We're using it right now. I love the word interface.
Yeah, Breaking Point.
Breaking Point.
No, Falling Down. That's what it is.
That sounds more familiar. Yes.
Yeah, 1993, Falling Down. Yeah.
Yes, that's yes.
Dude, Breaking Down, Falling Down. I knew there was down
there
in
was
there.
Some kind of down, watership down.
Downward dog.
Down with the sickness. I don't know, some kind of down. Down in my jacket.
Dude, I just had 311.
How do you get down off an elephant?
No, I just had 311 pop in my head.
What's that?
Anytime you want to go down. It's just, this is how my brain works. But yeah, I agree. When you get to that point where even if it's yourself fighting yourself and you reach that breaking point where you're feeling cornered or just...
Well, that's a dangerous feeling. Yeah.
Right. It's, because, put a dog in a corner, what is it going to do?
When they say a rat in a corner, well, get really vicious. If you, yeah.
Yeah, dude, those things are gnarly. but I think that's a great point because I mean you back anything because
you make somebody feel like they have no other option, then they're going to go for the worst.
Well, and so this is the thing with me is like, so people were like, oh, we're humans, we're intelligent. Well, yeah, so are other animals. Here's the stop that. But the other thing is we're still animals. So while we might be humans, dude, we're still mammals, we're still animals, we still have instincts. So yeah, you back us into a dark enough corner, stuff happens.
Well, it's more than that. I mean, it's more than just being backed into a corner. It's your human instincts make you do things that are completely unnecessary and then sometimes harmful to others.
See, and I think that's more programming, but
some of it may be, but I mean, a lot of it's inbred.
Well, I mean, granted, yeah, because there's always going to be the nature.
It's in your DNA.
But yeah, that's the nature
DNA.
Yeah, but that's that piece of it, though, that it's if we understand that we have this ability within us and we can be conscious about it, that's great. Problem is you're saying it's instinct. Yeah, we have nature nurture. So there's only so much that programming can modify what you're predisposed to do or be. And I mean, that's us as animals and us as a specific individual. So,
and that's the interesting thing about the consciousness conversations that we have is that there isn't with most other animals, I would argue pretty strongly that there isn't a dichotomy like there is in the human race. Because there is, and you felt it before, in any situation where you felt pushed to be violent when it kind of went against your human nature.
Right.
But you could feel that pull from the other side. Like, I'm ready to snap at any minute. If this guy pushes me one more time, that's it. Like everybody, like you said, has their breaking point. And it does, I don't know, does being willing to suffer certain things that in reality don't result in physical damage to you? You know what I mean? Like in suffering those things and just suffering them. And just realizing that it doesn't change who you are. Right? If somebody wants to throw insults at you, do you have to get violent? You know what I mean?
I see where you're going with that.
Like, it's what they're saying is what they're saying. It doesn't matter. It's how you're taking it. You know what I mean? That's one of the things you always try to remind me of. It's how you,
your assumption,
how you're receiving that. What other projections you have against that situation, and
right.
It's interesting,
Well, right, but going back to what your point about how we as humans being probably the only animal that have that dichotomy, and I think I think consciousness is a great way to put it because I view conscious
awareness.
Yeah. Well, but I view consciousness as being aware that you're aware. So it's not even just like, oh, I'm in existence, but it's like it's
the very specific type of consciousness I'm speaking of that it's just human.
I think so.
There's no other animal that, in my opinion, there's no other animal on this planet that has maybe intelligence, but not the same type of consciousness that human beings have.
Yeah.
And I think some of it is comprised of that dichotomy that I'm speaking of, that pull from animal to human to like these decisions. It's like the old cartoon with the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other, right?
Right. Well, and so like you were just saying, the difference of the intelligence and consciousness, I feel there's probably animals on this planet that are probably more conscious than intelligent, which gives them a great sense of intelligence or gives the sense to wisdom. Us.
Yeah.
Well, like dolphins or, whales or elephants.
Dolphins are extremely intelligent. They're also very, very playful, which should tell you something.
Well, and that's why. So I think when I was making that statement, dolphin was definitely something that came into my mind because they not only can sense these emotions, but they also react to it. So they're aware of their awareness, I feel, in that sense, because not only can they feel, but they can also make a conscious decision about it.
I still don't think it's on the same level, though. Like,
I think it's on a deeper level.
In some ways, but I think remorse is a very human condition. I think anger, when there's not a physical threat to existence, is a very human thing. So I think there's certain things that are, and maybe some of this you'd find in our chimpanzee cousins or whatever as well, but
you say cousins.
I still think there's a different level for human beings. It's much more of a
I'm not disagreeing with that
hollow echo chamber up here that we realize that we're living in. It's not. I think for a lot of other, maybe like the dolphin as well, that I think for the dolphin it's more an understanding of a connection to everything, which is something we as human beings always chase, but we can't find it so easily through our animal side because we can't give in.
Well, and that's why I said I feel like the dolphin would probably be a higher consciousness.
And I think being willing to suffer is one of the ways that you give in to get that wisdom.
Well, that's definitely, I can agree that that's definitely a path to do it. Sure. I mean, because I've done that path a few times myself. So yeah, I get that.
You may suffer this or that. And it's like, well, so be it. At some point you just kind of have to take, I hate to say a leap of faith, but sometimes you have to be willing to suffer whatever.
Well, and to me at that point, my perception is it's not me suffering, it's me learning.
Right. Well,
I'm choosing to see the positive out of it as opposed to seeing it as suffering.
And what is the phrase about pain? Pain is weakness leaving the body.
You ever heard that? All right. Yeah.
I can understand that to some extent. It's used as a way to condition really a soldier, but I've always liked that term. Pain is weakness leaving the body.
Within our conscious understanding, I think that's an accurate statement.
And that, so here's another thing. I'm not to say a lower animal, but say a wolf. If a wolf gets injured, they'll feel the pain, but they'll continue to move on even with it. And that I don't think there's an emotional attachment to pain like there is in humanity. There's a very visceral, very emotional attachment to pain.
I can agree with that.
For human beings that I don't think is the same for the animal kingdom.
Well, for the other animals in the animal kingdom.
Yes.
Yeah. No, and that's why I agree with the fact that you say on a different level. My more specific was that's why I feel like you even said that the dolphin would possibly have a greater connection to the all, which is why I would express it has a higher consciousness. In a way. This is one of the hurdles that humanity has to overcome, right? Because animals don't have to feel remorse for what they've done. It's instinctual. It's I do this or I die, and there's no hard feelings. There's no connection to pain. Pain is just a sensation. If I can still eat and I can still care for my little ones. I don't know how you'd think of that as an animal, but if I can still care for my cubs and right,
protect and be whatever, if I'm alpha, I guess, if I can still maintain that, that's the only thing I'm concerned about. The pain, there's no emotional attachment to the pain.
Yeah, when you were saying that before, I pictured a lion eating a gazelle, and it's crying, "I'm so sorry, you're so delicious." Like in Grandma's Boy when he's skeeting her, he's like, "Oh, I feel so good, I can't stop," but he's crying about it. Oh, yeah, freaking lion's just munching away.
Just tears rolling down. You can imagine. Right. I'm so sorry. Pulling off giant hunks of meat.
Yeah, that's the actual image that popped into my brain. Again, this is how my brain works. I'm sorry, people. Please forgive me.
Simba crying over his meal.
But yeah, these are, and this is why I like the fact that we can have these kind of conversations. Because, I mean, we could both be wrong, or one of us could be right, but it doesn't really matter. You know, I mean, I think that's another part of the human dichotomy.
Does there have to be a burden of proof on any of this stuff? I mean, is there really?
Nah. like Wikipedia, you just, if you cite it really well, we'll believe you.
I mean, there's still people out there that believe in flat Earth. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, go ahead and believe what you want, but
there's plenty of spots on Earth that are flat.
Is it so far-fetched, some of the things we talk about, and to some, like, are you going to believe a scientist to tell you that it's right or wrong?
Well, right.
Or like, does there have to be a college study, for you to know some of these things college studies have been done on? It's like, man, I could have told you that 10 years ago. Just ask me.
Well, and this goes back to that conversation. What's the difference between a truth and a fact? A truth is going to be an opinion. So technically in the science community, it's a hypothesis. It's an idea. Until you can actually have highly provable and probable information on a, repeatable level, it's just information. Then it becomes a fact. You saying, hey, this is how I feel or my belief system, that's going to be a truth. My view.
It's an interesting conversation to talk about that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I love that we can actually have these kind of conversations.
Truth and fact or not. Yeah.
What if it's a truth fact?
If it's a truth fact?
Yeah.
Well, then it's a fact.
Or is it a truth fact?
Well, what? See, now you just there's going in this circle.
Yeah, no, there's an episode of How I Met Your Mother that's like one of the lines, and it's
a truth fact.
Yeah. Well, because the one character is pointing out to, like you were saying with you and I, where it's like, well, this is what you're doing, and this is what's really going on, and you're being honest, not disrespectful or diminishing, just honest. And she's doing this to the other character, and she's like, "That's correct. That's right. That is a truth fact." she's just laying it out for
that
her.
That is a truth fact.
Yeah, so
I think that's just a made up thing. I don't know,
but I like it.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, me and the kid use it all the time. Like, I'll say something, she's like, "That is a truth fact." I'm just like, you get me, kid. You get me.
I mean, but what is truth ever a fact, or is fact like how do you?
Well, I would say...
Because there are times when truth isn't necessarily... You can't say it's fact because you can't prove it.
I would say that a truth can become a fact, but the likelihood is a fact would not become a truth. Because, again, the truth is coming from personal opinion, whereas fact is something that's been highly provable. So you can, set up your constraints, say these are the rules,
but
the
something
givens,
can be,
the variables, and...
Something can be a truth to you. And the truth of that, to me, is just a fact.
See, now
like, it doesn't necessarily... No, but...
You're like getting wordy.
Well, no, but, like, okay, so you believe that a certain person saved you of all your sins, right? Absolved you of all your past and future sins.
I do not.
I'm just saying, for example...
if I did, okay.
Right? To you, that's a truth.
Right.
To me, the fact that you believe that's a truth is just a fact to me, but it's not my truth. My truth might be totally different.
Well, correct. But in that statement, the fact would be is you're saying this is my belief system, and there's going to be enough ways that you can go through and continuously prove that as a point, making it a fact.
To prove what?
That's my truth.
Well, that is a fact.
Well, yeah, but you're just reusing. I already said that. You can't say it again.
I sure can. We do that all the time.
Dude, why are you switching my words up?
I'm sorry. Should I just play repeater?
Dude, nobody wins with repeater.
Nobody wins with repeater?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Fro hate. Oh, stinks like sex in here. Dude, that's just because that's like the best line out of the whole thing.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we got distracted by the repeater. Yeah, that will happen. That will happen. Hey, they're still playing that game. Yeah, no.
All right, Daddy.
Quit that laughing right now.
Mr. Galifianakis.
Yeah, you heard of Mr. Yeah, littering and. But yeah, and this is another piece that I really enjoy about our conversations. I mean, 5 minutes ago,
You can only do that for so long. You have to, yeah.
we were waist high in deep intellectual, and then we just fell off the rails.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, that is how it happens.
That's what we do.
That is a truth fact.
I still don't know if I like that one. I don't know.
You don't have to like it. I'm using it.
And I don't follow the show, so
no. But
otherwise,
I have
probably
made
would have
you
picked
watch
up on
some
it.
episodes with me.
There are some funny moments in there.
Yeah, specifically the slap episodes. Oh, I love the slap episodes.
That was good.
Yeah, especially the final one.
Well, the one you
second to last final
was
installment.
that the one you specifically showed me? Was the
well, yeah, because all right, so it was the final installment of Slaps Giving, but it wasn't the final slap
that
of
name.
all the.
I love that name, Slaps Giving.
Well, so all right, so the whole story behind the slap bet. The two characters get a slap bet. Long story short, the one winds up having like several slaps that he can dole out at any point that he wants. Well, he gives them like a couple, and then he's like saving the rest. Like a year later, just to mess with him, he starts a countdown to Slaps Giving, which was on Thanksgiving. And he's basically telling me, he's like, yeah, right before everybody's about to eat, he's like, I'm gonna slap the out of you. It's like that's gonna be my gift to everyone for Thanksgiving, and he calls it Slaps Giving. But then yeah, there's two more episodes of the Slaps Giving. And the third one is the one where it's like the Kung Fu remake that's like my absolute favorite because it's like all slapsticky and it's Kung Fu. It's just it's
that he trained. Yeah, he trained with a master.
Yeah, well, because he had to learn speed, accuracy, and
he's like, no, I don't want to learn martial arts. I just want to be able to slap the shit out of my friend.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what he does. He's like, plus I'm pretty good at kicking. He like does a weak ass kick. And he's just like, so I'm good there.
Just skip over all the other stuff. I just want to learn how to slap.
Yeah, it's like, is there a class I could take for this? Yeah, and then and
then he almost walked out on him, didn't he? The master.
What do you mean?
He was like, no, I don't do that.
Oh no, yeah, he told him to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And this little kid just comes around the corner. He's like, I think I know what you speak of. He's like, what you're talking about is the slap of 1,000 slaps. He's like, what? And then it changed. But then he changes it, and then it's like 1,000,000. He's like, hold on. He's like, wasn't it just 1,000? He's like, no, I heard 1,000,000. You guys? Yeah, I heard 1,000,000. Yeah, it's definitely 1,000,000. Well, because he gets everybody else like around him to like go along with the story. It's just yeah. And then there's like the slapping tree. Of Qigong. It's the slapping tree of Qigong Forest or whatever.
Yeah, stand here.
Yeah, no, it's
what the?
Well, no, because he has to slap the tree, and he's like, oh, I'm just going to
every
slap
time he
the
tries,
tree.
he gets that was right.
The tree just slaps the crap out of him. Yeah, dude, there's so many jokes.
Dude,
just
you made
in
that up.
Episode.
No, I didn't.
I back there in college.
What was this?
Yeah, no. He's like, yeah, so I spent a year in Shanghai. Well, hold on. A year? 1 year. Nobody noticed that he was gone. Yeah, no, he was fine. I knew it. Like the wife submitting. Oh, yeah, no, it's totally allowed. Completely supportive of this. Yeah, no, it's why I really enjoy that episode. Lots of kung fu, plus they're slapping. And then at the end, you get, I think it was Boyz II Men, re-sings the original slap song that the character wrote, which is actually Jason Segel. And I'm pretty sure he actually wrote this song, too.
Really?
Well, because he's actually a musician.
Okay.
Well, that was the thing in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, the whole rock opera about Dracula. He was actually working on that on the side while he was filming that movie.
That's funny.
Yeah, some of the production crew caught wind of it, and they're just like, that shit's dope. It's going in the movie, and they wrote a scene just to make sure that it got put in there.
Nice.
Yeah, but so yeah, at the end of that episode, Boyz II Men is singing his song, which his was like a piano rendition, and it was like a little bit more like up tempo, and when they did it, it was like all slow and like it's Boyz II Men, so they were like smooth about it, and it's still just as funny.
Can you recall any of it?
Oh yeah, it's where it's like you just got slapped. Yeah, you just what is it? what is this feeling across my face? Dude, there's like so many different references to it and stuff.
But all in the Boys to Men style.
Oh yeah, dude, it's freaking hilarious. Yeah, because it's like, you know, they're talking about how like it left a handprint and everything, and you know, it's all red and yeah. And then they get done singing it and everything else, because this is the second to last episode of all of the Slap episodes, period. Because there's like seven Slap
Wait,
episodes.
was this actually
total.
after or still before the slap?
Oh, this was after the first one.
This was after this.
Well, yeah, the one that he actually doles out by the slapping tree, supposedly. Where he's like,
what the
no,
song?
the willow tree.
The song part?
Yeah, so the Boys to Men comes out and they're like all singing this and stuff, and the whole cast is all standing around, whatever. Like, this is the natural thing to do. You know, it's not a show right now. No, this Boys to Men just showed up in the forest and they're singing to us right now. And they get done singing, and you know, Jason Segel's character walks over to the other guy, and he just looks and he goes, "One more," because he still had one slap left, which he winds up doling out at his wedding or whatever, because he's like freaking out, and he's just like, I don't know. He just like slaps the crap out of him. He's like, "Oh, thanks, I needed that." And he's like, "Oh wait, that was the last slap." He's like, "My gift to you on your wedding day." And he's like, "Oh, I love you," because now it like calmed him down. He doesn't have to worry about getting slapped again at some point, so he can actually just like be there for his wedding. So dude, that's what the writing on that show. There was always closure with everything they did. You know, if they introduced something, it wasn't because it was like, oh, it made it funny or made sense. It's probably because they were going to use it at some point.
So, yet again, it was the again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's always the again. We keep saying that.
Well, dude, this show is like one continuous running joke, but it's like 17 of them.
No, it's 27. No, it's 42.
It's 17. It's not the meaning of life.
Bingo.
It's the meaning of, no, that's like I-17. Bingo. I mean, you know, if that's what you're into.
I think it was B17. I was like the higher numbers, I think.
No,
Not that I play bingo.
That's when you're like playing Battleship. B12.
What? You sunk my battleship.
You just sunk my battleship. Yeah, you know how to win at that game?
Dude, my 7-year-old
stack all of them up on top of each other.
7-year-old kicks my butt at that game. It's like she's psychic or something. I don't know.
She's probably cheating and looking around the side.
She's not looking around the side.
Dude, she's short enough that you can't see her looking over.
No. No.
There's probably like a mirror behind you or something.
She'll be like, I don't know. And she'll just randomly pick a square. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you just hit like dead center in my battleship, like out of nowhere.
It sounds like
out of all the other places you could have shot. I'm like, how is that possible?
Yeah, you gotta stagger your ships better, bro.
It's not even that. It doesn't matter what pattern I choose. She finds them.
I bet you I'll beat her. I'm gonna do this.
All right.
Next time I come over, I'm gonna battleship it up.
Challenging my daughter to battleship.
Somebody's got to do it. Someone's got to take her down. Can't have her walking around all high and mighty like I'm battleship queen.
Oh, seriously. She's proud of that.
Yeah, I know. Good for her. She's gonna lose some.
And it does make me smile. I mean, that's great, you know.
Dude, it really is.
It is great.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, I want to beat you. I try to beat you. I still can't beat you.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with me is like when we're like playing cards and whatever games, you know, I always used to be like really competitive. And as I got older, especially playing more games with my kid and stuff, you know, was it Jordan Peterson, I think, right? You know, the winning is being invited back to play.
Winning is learning how to have fun, whether you're winning or losing.
Well, so when I started playing with that kind of a mindset, now all of a sudden, you know, if she starts beating me or winds up winning or, you know, it's just like...
Or winning is trying your best.
Yeah, but, you know, when she actually wins by the rules and whatnot, she no longer, like, before she would be like, yeah, oh, you know, like, all competitive and, like, try to, like, stuff me on it. But I got to a point, you know, where I was very humble in my approach. You know, the idea of being invited to come back and play is winning. And because I started to embrace that mentality, now when we play against each other, dude, we don't give it who wins. It's just like, dude, that's a really good score. Good for you. And we just enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, that's
so.
One of the things that I try to instill in my girls, though, is because it is work. And I remember what it was like being a kid and losing at a game. And, like, you get all bent out of shape.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't want to teach my girls how to win. Not at this age. I want to teach them how to lose. you know, because that's what gets me frustrated is trying to communicate that very message you just said about winning to my girls. And I like my younger one actually gets it a little bit more than my older one does. Like,
yeah, I believe that with them.
It's but yeah, winning is being invited back to play.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
You know, because if you're going to throw a hissy fit every time you start to lose, you know, people are either going to just let you win to shut you up, or they're just not going to want to play with you.
Yeah, or, you know, that's a Monopoly.
And eventually it's just they're not going to want to play with you.
Nobody wants to play Monopoly with me. Well, no, I am relentless. I will play Monopoly for blood.
Are you always the banker?
No, I don't give a crap about that.
Oh, okay.
No, I just come out for blood. Like, dude, I'm going to win. You're going to beg for forgiveness. You're going to hand over your properties. You're going to hand over your houses. Like, I'm taking everything from you.
Is it just me, or is Monopoly one of those games where everybody kind of plays their own little version?
Well, I think it allows for a decent amount of strategies. So, you know, the
because we used to do that stuff with the like the community chest thing it was like you always had to have the $200 in the middle for passing.
Yeah, no, free parking.
Right.
Yeah, the opposite corner of Pass and Go.
Right, and you collect the $200 every time. But we'd actually used to take anything.
No, Pass and Go is when you collect $200.
Pass and Go, yes.
Landing on free parking was always the money that got tossed into the middle, where it's like you had to pay fees and stuff, but not to anybody.
But we used to do one where you would collect, like we would actually put all the fine money, instead of putting it back in the bank, we'd put it in the center.
Yeah.
So you could basically win the lottery. And that wasn't in the rules. Like, we just kind of put that in.
That's what we do. Yeah, it just makes it more fun. Because then there's always that nice little cash pot.
Yeah, because the Pass and Go was like your paycheck. You would get paid from the bank. But
yeah,
this was like, I guess it was for landing on free parking.
Right, yeah, because you have free parking and Go is the opposite corners, and then the other two opposite corners is going to jail and being in jail.
So anytime you get one of those little cards that made you pay a fee or a tax or a fine or whatever,
yeah, instead of paying the bank,
that would all go in the middle.
Yeah, like, dude, if you had to pay so much for like house repairs and all that stuff, yeah, right to the center.
And like I think you were telling me, and like I never played this way, but is it like when you land on a new space that nobody's landed on before, you said technically you're supposed to opt buy or not buy, and if you don't buy, it's supposed to automatically go up for auction.
Correct.
And I, for years, never played that way, but it makes the game move a lot quicker if you do.
Yeah, that's why they wrote it that way.
Yeah. We never played it that way.
Well,
like, do you want to buy it? Oh, okay. You have to wait until you land on it now.
That was one of my strategies, though, is that
always buy it on auction, or
yeah, I wouldn't buy it and let it go to auction. And, you know, if it's like, I'm like $20, well, I'll do 30, $40. 50, I'll do $60. So I'll do 80. And I'll keep going and going. And then when it gets to that point of like even paying the, face value of it or just shy of it, I'm like, nah, you can have it. Because now you're spending all your money on all these other properties. So now you're running out of money, which means that when we get to those properties that I land on that I do want, I can still afford them. And you can't.
You're playing mind games with people?
Dude, I play Monopoly, man. I come out for blood.
Like so you'd land on the square and you'd say, no, I don't want Park Place.
Oh, no,
it's going up for auction.
No.
What?
No. All properties other than the good ones.
Okay.
Yeah, so all the really expensives. Yeah, so the blues and the greens on the other side. Those are mine. Hands off. I'm getting them. I'm going to have Monopoly. I'm putting up houses,
Marion
hotels.
Gardens or whatever.
I'm doing it all. Oh, yeah, dude. I would take that whole entire corner. The green, yellows, and blues.
Oh, if you get a corner, man, you're good. If you get a corner, you're just getting paid.
Well, so, I mean, even if I got to a place where it's like I could only get the blues, I'd come back around for the other two, for the purples or whatever, which is like Baltic and all that stuff. Because, yeah, dude, I'm wrapping that corner. You're landing on something. But, yeah, so depending on what rules we were playing with, that changes my strategy.
Right.
Because you got to work within the constraints, man. Got to play by the rules.
You got to play by house rules.
Well, you just got to play by the rules.
That's what I was saying. House rules it's always different. It seems like it's always different no matter where you go.
Dude, I mean, there's few
like
games
the basic rules,
like
but yeah.
You like show up. You're like, oh, you want to play? You're like, yeah. You're like, oh, you play this way, right? You're like, what? What are you talking? This is lunacy. Yeah. That's happened.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens.
Well, we've had that conversation about billiards.
I was just gonna say that's the same.
The APA. I was like, that's weird.
Well, that's why you also have to have like house rules for wherever you're at, and you should display them so you can just be like, house rules right there. Nobody gets to discuss, or you just play by those rules.
And you can't argue. If it comes down to an argument, they're posted.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you said.
But I learned. Well, we both did actually. We both learned on is it BPA rules or which?
I want to say yes. I think so.
And that was like the full size non-coin op table, like the
4.5 by 9s,
like a billiard hall table.
Yeah. Well, America would consider a full size because over in Europe, a full size I think is 5 by 10 and larger.
Like, for regular pool or for snooker?
Any and all.
Oh, okay.
Well, because snooker is still billiards. It's just a different game.
Longer table, tighter longer, pockets.
Much bigger. So large.
And tighter pockets, right?
Wow.
Yeah, you know.
220, 221. Oh, my.
What, how?
Yeah. See, this is how my brain works, people. Again, I do apologize. I thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. I'm so glad.
What time is it?
I'm so glad somebody puts up with my crap because I'm tired of it.
Your crap?
Yeah, I'm tired of my own crap at this point.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's whatever. I mean, I got you to listen to me, so, you know. Hopefully we have tons of other people that are listening.
Well, that's once a week. What about the other 6 days?
I cry and sleep a lot. Oh, no, not even. I joke. I'm sorry. I kid.
Sleep a lot.
Well, dude, you know me. I got to pick on myself because, you know, then when somebody else goes to do it, it doesn't matter. And
that wasn't impeccable. That was just funny.
That was just damn right it was.
That was not serious.
Well, anyways, it's that time, so we got to do our thing. Which, if you want, go ahead.
Yeah, please hit us up at tellingyou at directionsinmusic.org. That's IMTELLINYOU at directionsinmusic.org.
You made the face this time.
Please drop us a line. Curse us out in movie quotes.
Yeah, just continue the conversation and or resume for fact checking.
Yes, you need to know how to Google. This is a must. Yeah.
Well, it's this is I'm Telling You, and we appreciate you all for stopping by and checking us out and putting up with us for an hour. So thank you on that. But yeah, it's as always, your host Philly D,
Mr. Gemini.
Yeah, be good to yourself and be good to everyone else. We love you, fam.
Much love.
Peace.
Peace.